last of the 10 plagues was the plague of the firstborn. And it was at this plague where all the firstborn of the Egyptians were killed, annihilated, except for Pharaoh, and the Jewish firstborn were allowed to live. And for this great miracle, that where God himself was able to distinguish between the Jewish firstborn and the Egyptians, we have a mitzvah until today. It's called Pidyon Haben. We redeem our firstborn children for 5 silver coins, and for that we're allowed to keep our children instead of sending them off to eternal service to God. Now, where did the 5 silver coins come from? Why that number? And the rabbis tell us that this was the amount of money that the Jewish brothers received when they sold Joseph into slavery. And there is this connection here. Why? Because since the brothers sold Joseph into slavery, it was this story that, as it unfolded, brought the brothers, including Yaakov, their father, to Egypt at the get-go. And that was de facto the beginning of the exile of the Jewish people in the land of Egypt until their redemption. So we see that the sale of Joseph brought them to Egypt, and at the conclusion of this exile, the firstborn were redeemed and saved, and the firstborn of the Egyptians were killed. Whenever we think about salvation that came our way, whenever we think about close calls of life, one obviously has to be thankful, and we forever may do something to celebrate that moment. But when we talk about the redemption of the firstborn, we're doing 2 things at the same time. Not only are we recalling that we are grateful to God that He allowed us to live and not perish like our enemies, we're also at the same moment, besides celebrating it, recalling the reason why we almost got into a terrible situation to begin with. And that is because we sold our brother Joseph. So when we redeem ourselves, we take those 5 silver coins as a token of remembering that when it comes to bettering our ways, when it comes to changing our past in life, it's not only always to be thankful that we were given a second chance and we could do better, we also deep down keep reminding ourselves of what got us into trouble in the first place. You know, today in Israel, and we've said this throughout the history of the Jewish people, that when unfortunately our enemies befall us, that's when we're most united. In Israel today, there's already chatter that the unity is being tried and tested, even just a mere 100 days after the tragedy of October 7th. And people are careful, and they don't want that to happen. They see that at least the one benefit that came out of this tragedy, that Jews are all united and really stand together and determined about what they need to do and where they need to be, and don't want to be in a position where Jew is being pitted against Jew, and that we're fighting with each other, and there's this inner turmoil in our very fiber of our community. So, as Jews do with the redemption of the firstborn, don't always just be thankful that we're able to do things a little bit better. In the back of your mind, keep reminding yourself of how we got to the bad place to begin with, so that we don't repeat our mistakes. Remember that as long as we're united, we can accomplish anything.